Latiga, Southwest Nigeria. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki. And for our viewers out there in Lagos, get your raincoat and your boots out because it's raining outside. Now let's move straight to the front pages of the dailies. I'm starting with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with "COUP SCARE. Sit tight, leaders move against their military." Rwanda retires 12 generals, over 800 other ranks. Cameroon reshuffles military. Work on response to Gabon military coup. GOC asks disloyal soldiers to leave the Nigerian army. Gabon coup chief to be sworn in as transitional president Monday. Asks the Sultan to go back to Niger. Focus on diseases that bet cool, not symptoms, Atiku tells African leaders. Poverty responsible for coups in Africa. That's coming from Falano. You can see that story on page 5. And here there's a picture showing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as he receives a Jim Ovia. Now on page 8, federal government to establish mobile court on FGM, sexual harassment in schools, and others. That's coming from the minister. 25th anniversary, our 16 years in power, Nigeria's golden era, PDP boast. Federal government short NMIA October 1st, alt Nigeria Air projects. Nigeria, United Nations signed MOUs to tackle terrorism. And then on page 8, IPMAN says Scarcity NNPC directs marketers to Pinnacle as pipelines under repair. And we have a way Lakemfa and it's talking about the Gabonese coup. You can see that story on page 17. And on the sport on page 31, Lukaku joins Roma on season-long loan. Stories above on page 27, HARDSHIP with patience, determination will succeed. That's coming from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Says bitter pill must be administered to build a better future for Nigeria. Danger as bandit vandalize a Makurdi Park. You can see that on page 13. Still on page 13, poor governors responsible for banditry. Kidnapping in Northwest is coming from Shetima. Lastly on Vanguard on page 19, extortion. Truckers pay 40 million naira daily at Lagos Port Corridor. Now, away from there, let's move to The Guardian. Guardian is leading with democracy without election. Our imperial governors, ad hoc administrators collapse grassroots governors in 238 local councils. You can see the big story on pages 4 and 5. On page 6, after 244 years of reign, sit tight African leaders review security architecture. CBN, banks investigators suspected $1 billion currency counterfeiting. Story below on page 29, we have 2,588 children sexually, emotionally abused in 12 months, says Lagos government. Stories above, minister orders relocation of foreign airlines to new Lagos airport terminal. You can see that on page 3. Now the nation is leading with federal government alt Nigerian Air. Airports concession suspended. Foreign airlines to operate from new terminal in Lagos from October 1. And the highlight inside that is showing Nigeria Air projects put on hold. Concession of Lagos Abuja airports to wait. Also closure of old terminal at NMIA October 1. Foreign airlines to fly from new terminal October 1st. Removal of disused aircraft in 90 days. You can see that on page 4. Now, stories above. TINUBU to deliver Nigeria's statement at UNGA September 19. Now, above the nameplate, we have 15 million indigents to get federal government cash transfer, and the kicker is EDU. Akeredolu returns soon, says Ondo government. Lastly, on the nation, government armor to fall on illegal miners, say ministers. You can see that on page 5. And lastly, this morning, we're going to be looking at the Punch newspaper. Punch is leading with fear of coups. AU suspends Gabon as Cameroon, Rwanda retires generals and 1,000 soldiers. African Union says suspension in force until democracy is restored. Niger humanitarian crisis looms. And Niger's junta orders forceful eviction of French ambassador, cancels envoy and families' visas. You can see that on page 2. And here there are 3 photo stories. And the writer is saying 12 children Over 60 others die in South African building fire. Jealous lover kills girlfriend with sledgehammer. You can see that on page 5. And oil thefts, Navy arrest on Polo's men, security firm kicks. And right above the nameplates, we have federal government, states, local governments share 4.37 trillion naira and 6 more. That's coming from NEITI. And lastly, on the Punch newspaper, airport expansion. Government to demolish a multi-billion naira Lagos private jet terminals. Federal government to evict over 22 jets. Kiamo relocates foreign airlines to new terminal. That can be seen on page 19 of the Punch newspaper. Now, let's go on a short break. And when we return, we'll be analyzing some of the stories on the front pages of the dailies. Welcome back. If you're just joining me, this is Today in the News on Vanguard Live. I'm Damilola Ogunshaki. Now let's move straight to the front pages of the dailies, and we're starting with the cool story, and that's a school scare. See tight leaders move against their military. John Bosco Agbakoro will be giving us more on this story. Good morning, John Bosco.
Good morning, Tommy. Good morning for having me.
Yes, thank you. Please, can you go ahead with your reports and tell us about that?
Actually, yesterday, Mr. President hosted the Sultan of Sokoto. He represented the Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs. He led a delegation to the president. I mean, the Sultan, His Eminence Muhammad Zayed Abubakar III. They came to the State House, to meet with Mr. President. This issue of coup in Niger Republic, President Bola Ahmed TINUBU is the chairman of ECOWAS, heads of government. So they came yesterday, to discuss with Mr. President on the efforts so far, made. So at the meeting, President TINUBU, who is not comfortable with what is happening, especially what happened 2 days ago in Gabon, the recent coup in Gabon, in which President Ali Bongo, was, deposed. So he was emphasizing on negotiation and diplomacy, which also said that kinetic intervention has not been ruled out in Niger Republic if the military junta, refuses to reinstate, the deposed president. Like if I should quote Mr. President, he said, "I must thank you for your several visits to Niger Republic, Your Eminence, but we still have to go back." But here has been confirmed in Gabon that copycats, he emphasized on that, copycats will start doing the same thing until it is stopped. We are neighbors with Niger Republic, and what has joined the Nigerians together with their great people cannot be broken. He also said that nobody is interested in war, but where they have seen the devastating effect of war, both in Ukraine and in Sudan. However, he also said that something drastically must be done. If we don't wear the big stick, we will all suffer the consequences together. So the president was emphasizing on trying to stop, especially in Africa now, the military removing constitutionally, elected, leaders.
Hello?
Hello, I'm hearing you.
I'm seeing here that the disloyal military men were also asked to leave. That's from GOC.
Because of what is happening, both Cameroon and Rwanda have reshuffled the hierarchy of the military, because the leaders now, especially our African leaders, who people have now described as fit-tight leaders, they are not afraid, they are not scared. What happened in Niger Republic, what happened in Gabon could also happen in their country. So what they have now decided to do is to reshuffle, the military hierarchy. Even some have decided even to weed some of them out, to compulsorily retire them. So now the new military leaders appointed by these, presidents, will now try also to reshuffle whoever, is heading some positions to ensure that he has people that are loyal to him, people that may not contemplate or plan to upstage the government. So the GOCs and other people that are not going to be in government are the people that will be loyal to the president. And if they don't do it, there'll be that suspicion that some people may be losing that notion of carrying out coup. Remember also, in even some of these countries, that these coup d'etats have taken place, it appears that the people are jubilating because some of these leaders have overstayed. Some have stayed over 30 years, over 40 years, as the president, and some of them are even incapacitated. They don't even have what it takes, the mental stability, to handle the affairs of the country. So what they now doing is just to now bring the military, officials that will be loyal to them, and along the line, they have to, adjust the military hierarchy so that the people that will be in government or people will be around will be the people that will be loyal to them.
All right, let's move away from that and still talk about what the president said. He said that with patient determination, that they will succeed. Can you give us a report on that?
Actually, yesterday the president also, hosted the board and management of the Nigeria Economic Support Group, that came to visit him in State House. You can bear with me that everywhere since May 29, Mr. President announced the removal of fuel subsidy. A lot of changes, a lot of things have happened that occasioned hardship in the system. President is saying that he's really aware of that things are being done to ameliorate the situation. He emphasized that Nigeria is blessed with rich human and natural resources, in addition to this deficit opportunities, which can quickly, be leveraged into new prosperity. It calls for urgent exploitation of Nigeria's diversity for collective, gain, with an eye on the new think tanks in the agricultural sector. Remember that even when they are doing their campaigns, they were talking about all the different, presidential, candidates were talking about venturing into agriculture and the establishment of a commodity exchange. So the president said that we have gone through the past and will not look back. That is trying to look at some of the hardship people are passing, some of the problems people are facing as a result of the new policies, put in place. But he said that the focus of his horse, his race, remains forward-looking. That despite whatever is happening, he is optimistic that things will change. We will have an abundance of knowledge and untapped mineral resources and an agricultural sector that is God-given. That we tend to shy away from taking those gigantic steps that will result in prosperity for our people. President was so frank, that Nigeria is blessed with enormous resources. That, the previous administrations have not taken the bold steps to tap these mineral resources so that Nigerians will not suffer. Not related that he was elected on a no-exclusive platform for renewed hope. That's why whatever happens, he has no excuse to give. His mandate is to make life better for Nigeria. If I should remember, quoting what he said. He said, looking backward is retrogressive for any reformer. Looking forward can give you the news that will propel you in the right direction. We need insights in the agricultural sector. I don't see why he emphasized on that. I don't see why Nigeria will be so blessed with good soil, not have a commodity exchange. I don't see why we have not been able to target our real estate sector, the people in it. I don't see why we have not used, because President was trying to look at some of the resources they have in the country, and he could not imagine why should Nigeria should be blessed with such resources, such enormous and abundant resources, but still suffering. No, he commended the Summit Economic Group, for believing in the reforms of his administration. But he said that the bitter pill, that is the language, he said the bitter pill must be administered to an ailing nation, a suffering nation, and economy to build a better future for the country. He recognized the fact that really Nigerians are suffering. But then, some of these policies may not be sweet on the surface. They may not be easy, but towards the end, they will produce results. He said, I'm here, and I believe we can do it together. No single person succeeds alone. The world is dynamic. We are confronted with climate change and other challenges. But somewhere in the eye of the storm, there is a quiet and peaceful corner for those who can toil well. Now, he concluded by saying, with patience and determination, we will succeed. He acknowledges the fact that things are not rosy in the country. He acknowledges the fact that Nigerians are suffering, but he had called for patience, and that with the government being determined that there will be light at the end of the tunnel.
All right, thank you very much, John Bosco, for the report.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and with that, we hope Nigerians will be patient, as the president has, promised, to resolve the issues going on in the country. Now, let's end this on a lighter note with Mr. and Mrs. this morning, and the only person speaking is Mrs. Mrs. says you followed your friend to our shop. The woman, they say, has a disarming smile. By the way, where's the money you went to the bank to collect? I hope you have not been disarmed. All right, Mr. You have a question to answer. What did you go and do in the bank? Where's the money? Mrs. is asking you, so you need to turn and reply to Mrs. Now, this is where we have to draw the curtain. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki. Do what to like and follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Our WhatsApp number is also displayed on your screen. And today is September 1. Happy New Month to our viewers, and have a